when they're playing, we can't really talk about what's in their hands. But when I talked to Ryan yesterday, what he said is that he felt like it was a good matchup as long as he wasn't playing against a good Cobblade player. But as soon as they figure out that the Cobblade player has to be on the aggressive and attack a lot, it got a lot harder. So anyway, welcome to the semifinals of the Star City Games Open Series here in Dallas, Fort Worth. I'm Gavin Verhey, joined with Big Head Joe, and we're about to watch a great matchup between Gerry Thompson on your right, needs no introduction. Magic players everywhere these days, one of the most read registered Star City games, and always brewing up. Top eighted last week with 3-color Cobblade. Came back this week with a take on and Ryan reads the Squadron Hawk. And came back this week with a take on Cobblade that has no day of judgments, just Tumble Magnet. On your left is goofy-haired Ryan O'Connor. He's just a fun guy. They're all friends here.
He read the Squadron Hawks. That was great.
And yeah, Ryan is awesome. I love hanging out with him, and he's just a really cool guy. Brewed up a deck with AJ Soccer on the way down here. Like kind of a Midwest player. Works with Brandon Shield, often hangs out in that group a lot. And a member of the Glove Clubs, we worked with like AJ Soccer and Drew Levin. They brewed this deck up on the way down, and I Vengevine deck. Haven't seen one for a while, but it's been great for Ryan in this tournament. He picked up one loss and a draw against two great players, AJ Soccer and Nick Spagnolo. And then he made it all the way to the semis here. Who will take it down? Is it going to be Naya on one hand or Cobblade on the other?
Yeah, so Gerry looks like started with the Creeping Tar Pit. Ryan started with a Forest into a Bird. And Gerry played a Plains and a Squadron Hawk that Ryan read.
And down comes Sylvan Ranger for Ryan O'Connor. And Ryan said yesterday that Sylvan Ranger has been an awesome card for him all weekend. Like, it's a creature, picks up sort of feast and famine. You can discard it to a Fauna Shaman if you draw it late. If you have it early in your little land light, which the deck can be sometimes.
I think he is in this game for the record.
You can play it and get a land. I mean, it's very versatile in what it does. It kind of acts as like a pseudo-land, a land creature. It's like a Dryad Arbor, but the standard version.
Right.
Gerry thinking through his line of play here. Players playing very deliberate. It's early here, 8 o'clock in the morning in Dallas, Fort Worth, but players have decided, well, I guess I made top 8 of this tournament. I might as well go play in the semifinals. And this shows you the deliberacy of these players. Like, Gerry's thinking, like, should I attack with the Hawk here? Like, is this 1 point going to matter? Is he going to attack with his Sylvan Ranger if I lose my Hawk back?
Tumble Magnet's going to tap. Ooh, okay. Tumble Magnet's going to tap down the Birds of Paradise. Apparently realizing that Ryan is landlight.
I'm sure that's what Gerry was thinking about on his turn, is if he wanted to tap the bird, or if he felt Ryan was a little light on lands. It's worth noting that I think the big thing that might have tipped Gerry off was that Sylvan Ranger. Like, if Ryan kept the hand with Sylvan Ranger in it and he thought about it for a little bit, it could be easily evident that Ryan is behind on lands. And this is that's a big beating for Ryan. Like, we've seen Fauna Shaman be so crucial in this matchup. It's really the make or break card. If you get an active Fauna Shaman, you can push so far ahead. But when Jace starts controlling the Fauna Shaman, you have a big issue. And here we are. Jace came down, bounced that Fauna Shaman, and things are going to be looking a little rough for Ryan now.
He's going to try to put that Fauna Shaman down again.
Yep, just has forced to replay it.
No third land drop for Ryan, while Gerry is sitting comfortably at 4. He's going to mostly have Brainstorm into his 5th land easily. It's a tough break here, game 1 for Ryan.
See, it looks like Doomblade. I don't know. Fine. All right, gonna Squadron Hawk
down. Probably grabbing the rest of the team.
The Squadron flock, as it were.
Flock of seagulls.
And then I think Gerry's gonna do something to remove that Fauna Shaman, right?
Well, I think so. Although He's pretty far ahead right now.
Okay, so preordained from Gerry.
I don't know if Fauna Shaman can even do that much damage right now in Ryan's state.
And Gerry, I think, going in a little deep on the preordain, thinking about what his options are, making sure that he figures out what he wants to do. And we talked to both AJ and Gerry yesterday. They said that a key of the deck was knowing when to cast your preordains. They said playing it on turn 1 is seldom correct, and you really want to wait until right about here when you know what you're looking for to start casting your preordains.
I think that's something a lot of people don't realize with preordain. A lot of people like to keep a land light hand with the preordain.
Right. I mean, yeah, you can do that, but not always what you're looking for. And we see a go for the throat on Ryan's Fauna Shaman there, and Ryan has a second Fauna Shaman to follow it up, but Gerry still has an active Jace, meaning he can, at the very least, bounce that Fauna Shaman for a turn.
He's kind of like running in quicksand right now, it seems like Ryan is, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You're not exactly getting very far. Gerry had to empty his Temple Magnet, though, to tap down that Birds of Paradise, so we could see some action from Ryan coming now that he will have access to a third mana and potentially a fourth if he plays another land. Gerry tapping 1. We're going to see a preordain here. Yep, preordain from Gerry. And yeah, that shuffle effect, reorganizing Gerry's library, and Gerry quickly ships those away, looking for something else. No, I'm guessing he's probably searching for a removal spell. Okay, Sword of Feast and Famine comes in on the Hawk, and that is the play of the weekend. Serve for 3, discard a card, untap all my lands. Yes, please. Ryan discards Vengevine, so not the worst discard you can make. It does enable him in a sense, but no one's ever happy when you get to fire off when you get hit with sort of Feast and Famine. Even if you can't get discarded Vengevine, still untapping all the lands and taking the extra damage is so brutal. And Gerry plays Stone Forge Mystic going for the second Sword of Feast and Famine, and most of the Cobblade players in the room have elected to play with 2 Sword of Feast and Famines in this tournament. They're like, the Sword of Body and Mind just doesn't do anything. So,
although it's probably worth noting that Dustin is playing 1-1 in his deck.
Certainly. So a couple people still have the split, but both Gerry and AJ opted for just the double Feast and Famine. And another Hawk for Gerry, and then he ships the sword over to the Hawk to prevent any Vengevine shenanigans from occurring. And it looks like Gerry's going to bounce that Fauna Shaman. He's fooling around with the dice on that Jace. He's thinking about it. He also bounced the Birds of Paradise and just totally hamstring Ryan's mana. Yep, and so he decides to bounce the birds. Maybe a little unconventional, but he knows that if he can just cut Ryan off from casting his spells, he's going to be okay, even if that Fauna Shaman does get active. And I mean, it's true. It's a little bit of a greedier play, but it's a good play.
Absolutely.
So
Ryan's on 2 mana right now on like turn X. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it's been a while, and he just did something very awkward. He's forced to cast a Squadron Hawk with 7 other cards in his hand, and chooses not to search up a Squadron Hawk because he would just have to discard them. So Squadron Hawk, no search.
If he had Vengevines in his hand, it wouldn't be a bad play.
It's true. Although he's already looking for cards to discard to that sword anyway, I would imagine.
Yeah, true.
Yep. Gerry activates Tar Pit and equips Sword and serves. A nice little interaction there means that Tar Pit gets to untap when it connects. So essentially, you're just activating a man land for free. One of the many awesome abilities of that sword. And Squadron Hawks trade up. Ryan's going to take 6 here, drop to 11, be forced to discard another card. Gerry gets to untap all of his lands. Looks like Ryan discarded Linvala, Keeper of Silence.
Doesn't seem like one he'll likely cast this game.
Yeah, I don't think Ryan's going to have the opportunity to cast many more spells, to be honest. Gerry preordains, leaving one on top and one on bottom. Preordaining again. Thinking. Looks like Seachrome Coast and is that a condemn?
Not sure.
He sends them both south. And Gerry Fate Seals. Nope. He says ship that one, Ryan.
We couldn't see if it was a land, but I can only assume.
Seems likely. And you're going to re-equip the sword back to Stoneforge Mystic. Once again preventing any Vengevine shenanigans from taking place. Even if Ryan could return those Vengevines, he'd be able to protect his Jace. Thanks to the protection from green on the sword. Ryan looks over his options. And still no land. There's always that glimmer of hope when your opponent fate seals you with Jace. The moment of trepidation where you're like, well, I sure hope I find a land here or whatever I'm looking for, a sweet spell. That was not there for Ryan O'Connor.
Nope.
Ryan calculating things up, trying to figure out what in or out he has this game. Might be.
Personally, I would go to game 2, but that's just me.
Okay, so he did find a land, but it enters the battlefield tapped, which is definitely not what he was looking for.
Not fun.
So you see Birdie here? Okay, it's just Squadron Hawk. So the other Birdie. And once again, Ryan... Okay, so Ryan does choose to search this time. After thinking about it for a second there, it looked like he was going to pass the turn, but he decides, well, might as well get the Squadron Hawk. So he searches one Hawk up. And are we going to see a second Hawk? Yep, 2 Hawks. Counting up the cards in his hand. And Gerry draws. Looks like it's gonna be a little too late, but for Ryan O'Connor, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously a pretty tough position to come back from. Gerry has access to 8 mana, and Ryan has access to 3. Does not seem good.
Yeah, and Jerry's going to connect again, probably. Well, I guess Ryan can block with that Squadron Hawk, which is probably what he's going to do. But with a double sword, yeah, I mean, Jerry's going to connect with at least one Sword of Feast and Famine this turn. Yep, activates Creeping Tar Pit, ships both swords to it, meaning he's going to connect with both. Serves with 7, dropping Ryan O'Connor's life total to 4. And with that Creeping Tar Pit on the other side of the board, it means that it's going to be very difficult for Ryan O'Connor to do much blocking at all. Everything untaps. Ryan's forced to ship 2 cards to the graveyard. And he Fate Seals again with... Oh no, this time he chooses to bounce Fauna Shaman, taking Ryan off of even more options, whatever few options he had left. Gerry plays the Squadron Hawk. Sees if he's got more left.
Pretty brutal.
Alex not the search. And once again ships swords over to other creatures to prevent Vengevine shenanigans, although at this point I don't think Vengevine would do that much. But Gerry's just playing tight. He doesn't think Ryan can do anything. But just to be careful, you don't want to make a sloppy play and
Right.
accidentally find yourself backpedaling after a perfect series of draws. All right, yeah, Ryan packs him in. Not much going on for Ryan O'Connor in that game.
Not really, unfortunately for him.
Players are headed into game 2. So we were talking about this yesterday. How do you think the players are going to sideboard?
Well, first of all, we got 6 months of premium here that we're doing a giveaway. Save me from having to answer the question about sideboarding.
So get your hashtags ready. Go onto Twitter. Hashtag, which is the number sign, for those who don't know what a hashtag is, followed by SCG Premium. So hashtag SCG Premium. Just tag your tweet with that. And
I got one. Got a question.
well, then, yeah, feel free to ask your question.
What is the nickname? What is the nickname that Gavin has been using for Ryan O'Connor this weekend during the coverage? So get your answers in.
So for those who didn't hear the question the first time, so first of all, go onto Twitter, type in hashtag SCG Premium, and write your answer to the question, what nickname have we been using for Ryan O'Connor all weekend? And we'll choose one person out of all the people who reply with the right answer, and we'll give them 6 months of free premium on Star City Games, which is pretty awesome. I mean, Gerry Thompson, who's in this match right now, premium writer. You're going to want to see his report. You're going to want to see this take on Cobblade, as well as future takes on Cobblade, and how he recommends evolving things for LA next week or Atlanta in 2 weeks. Gerry's the guy who's always on the cutting edge, and what he says when it comes to these Star City tournaments usually turns out to be pretty accurate information. You're not going to want to miss that. Plus, all kinds of other great writers, Patrick Chapin, Brian Kibler. I wouldn't be surprised to see tournament reports from many of the players who made top 8 this weekend. Ryan O'Connor donning the Star City shirt. Wouldn't be too surprised to see him write a little piece for us. So you're going to want to stay tuned to the premium side of Star City Games next week for Gerry's article and all the other articles that come along with it. Seems like a pretty good deal to me. So yeah, get those answers rolling in. So back to the sideboarding question. What do you think's going on in this matchup? Like, how do you feel? I mean, the thing is, like, the players have both said how they would sideboard in this matchup, like, normally, or at least hinted at it across the weekend. But both players know each other. They might have an idea of what the other person is sideboarding. They've seen all the deck lists now, so they know what both players are doing. They have complete information. They know that went to bed thinking about this last night. What do you think they're going to do here?
Well,
let's start with Gerry's sideboard.
Gerry's got Condemn, he's got Doomblade. Those both seem like maybe the most obvious choice. But Morriside doesn't seem terrible against Vengevine, frankly. I don't know if he would do something like Flash Freeze. I don't think it really. I mean, obviously, I think the Squadron Hawks and the Stoneforge Mystics are a little more important to counter than like the Fauna Shamans in the long run. Like it's not worth flipping them out. You know what I mean? Like it's not worth replacing one for one.
I mean, I feel from Gerry's sideboard, the cards that we're most likely to see are Condemn and Doomblade. You just want to have as many answers to cards like Fauna, Shaman, Vengevine, preventing all the ways that Ryan can get a quick start on them. So I definitely think we'll see those four.
I think the Spark Mage collar package comes in for Ryan. I don't know, maybe the Acidic Slimes.
I think Slime is pretty good on the play against Cobblade, and Ryan kind of hinted at this yesterday, that it's good on the play, and it still blows up equipment and stuff, so it's okay, but on the draw it's a little too slow. But when you can get a good hand and you like put on some pressure and then just blow up a land, you can really set the Cobblade player back.
Well, Ryan's on the play, so...
It's exactly what he's looking for.
Could very well work out.
Anything about
Um, yeah, let's see. Yeah, as far as the deck lists go, I mean, I think Gerry probably wants those flash freezes in this matchup too. He definitely wants them on the play, I think, so he could potentially counter a Fauna Shaman. Maybe on the draw they're not that impressive. They can hit an acidic slime potentially. Yeah, on the draw they actually don't look that good. So I think he'll leave the flash freezes in the board for now, and then maybe bring them back out for the third game, if there is one. Yeah, and from Ryan's sideboard, I mean, I think we'll see at least one more acidic slime, maybe both. I could definitely see the Spark Mage collar package just to control the game down, and beat some of the ways Gerry has going over the top and establishing board position. Fortunately for Ryan, he's got a bunch of different one-ups he can kind of fool around with in a package. He can change up. So, all right.
Do you think he would do you think he would go for a Seal of Gideon maybe? You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. I think he definitely wants those Gideons all weekend long. We've seen the blue-white players just bank on Gideon to play it and just sit on it and be like, okay, well I've got 1 turn or 2 turns to do whatever I want. So it's kind of like double time walk in a sense, as far as, or at least a double fog.
Yeah.
And they've said time and time again that one of the worst things for them would be if their opponent played a Gideon and suddenly everything's thrown off. They can crack in and drop the Cobblade player to a low life total. So it looks like Ryan O'Connor is going to keep. His hand looked a little land heavy, but clearly had stuff he was looking for. Gerry, on the other hand, mulligans down to 6 cards, no doubt looking for a better opener in this matchup. He knows that being on the draw can be rough, especially if Ryan has a turn 1 Birds of Paradise or something like that. Yeah, okay. So it looks like Ryan's hand is 3 or 4 lands, a Cunning Spark Mage, and a Precursor Golem hiding out towards the back there. I feel like there has to be something else, because he wouldn't have kept that hand otherwise. But I couldn't quite make out what the middle cards were. Did you tweet the question?
I did. I don't know if my internet's been running a little slow, but there's a couple.
All right.
Anything.
All right.
And you know what I mean?
And so Ryan has the turn 2 Fauna Shaman, which is such a dominated card in this matchup. And Gerry Doomblades it away. Gerry knows he needs a Doomblade in this matchup, and was no doubt trying to find one. Let's see, so turn 3, just a sword from Ryan O'Connor, just a sword. But there's no creature on Ryan's side, which makes that sword a little less threatening. But we've seen it all weekend where it looks so innocuous. There's just a sword chilling out or something, and then suddenly, within 2 turns, the sword is connecting, they're unloading their hand, and things going downhill.
Whatever.
And then let's see, Gerry stitches up Sword of Feast and Famine with his Stoneforge mistake. Ryan has a second Sword of Feast and Famine. So Ryan has plenty of sorting going on, but no creatures, which is the other half. Usually that part's not the problem, but Ryan's a little light there. Gerry,
well, his swords are for decoration right now. But as I've been saying over the last couple weeks, swords are not for decoration.
But the Mythic Rare looks pretty nice. I equipped something. Okay, Squadron Hawk, that's a good one to equip it to.
Sure.
I think it's likely Gerry boarded out his counter magic in this matchup. It's not very good in general, especially on the draw. So I think we'll see most of Ryan's spells resolve. And nope. He did leave in Mana Leak. Okay, down comes Spark Mage. The interesting thing with the Spark Mage is it does have haste, so he could have played Spark Mage and equipped the sword and swung, but obviously Gerry would have leaked it. Instead, Ryan was able to establish Spark Mage. Now, of course, Ryan's just looking for a collar to be able to knock off all of Gerry's threats, but still on its own, it's pretty threatening. Deals with Squadron Hawk. And it can definitely pick up both those swords next turn and just get to brawling.
And now it looks like it's Gerry that's land late. Did you miss a land drop here?
Seachrome Coast comes down for Gerry.
Ryan's got 5 lands, Gerry has 4, so. Now he swords up the Spark Mage there.
What's the play?
He's going to tap it to deal 1 damage to Stoneforge Mystic. No, I'm kidding. He's attacking with it, actually.
Yep.
Pretty awesome.
Swing with the Spark Mage.
It's a mighty 2-3.
Mighty 2-3 indeed. It's a good size to be when you're playing a Stoneforge Mystic.
Very
Gerry
true.
cracks his fetch land. And we're probably going to see a spell from Gerry here. Yep, and there's a Condemn from Gerry on the attacking Cunning Spark Mage. I don't know how often you see a Condemn cast on Cunning Spark Mage. And Gerry gets the sword out there, and things looking bad for Ryan O'Connor. Yep, and in comes the sword. Ryan's forced to pitch his Precursor Golem, and yeah, that's rough. His plan was no doubt getting with Spark Mage, untap all of his lands, cast the Golem, which would have been awesome with both the swords to be able to suit them up. Instead, he was forced to discard it to Gerry's sword. And how Gerry establishes Tumble Magnet. Ryan figuring out what his plan is. For Ryan, that's really too bad also, because that Precursor Golem was just the card, and that was his one-of bullet that he really wanted there. You get 3 copies of it. It would beat the Tumble Magnet. It would allow him to equip up all of his swords and start connecting. And being forced to discard that is a really big blow to Ryan O'Connor's game plan. Alright. And Ryan activates Ravine, equips the sword, and Gerry's like, alright, Temple Magnet it. And now Gerry has sword active on a Stoneforge Mystic. He can serve with Creeping Tar Pit for once again essentially free. And that's going to crack Ryan's life total down to 13. Gerry gets to untap all of his lands again and just do whatever he wants. Looks like Inquisition of Kozilek and Into the Royal in Gerry Thompson's hand.
Man, it seems like...
Good morning, Magic players, and welcome to the StarCityGames.com.
Oh man, Acidic Slime from Ryan. It's a good one to draw.
We are still taking signups for both the
Gerry into the Royals his sword in response.
If you'd like to sign up for either of these events, please come on up to the event stage where Joseph and myself will be more than happy
Forcing
to sign up.
so did he just not Acidic Slime anything? Oh no, he targeted. Okay, yeah, I see what happened. He targeted the sword, and Gerry did it in response. So he didn't do it in response to the slime. Yeah,
that's a really neat interaction there.
Yeah, Into the Royal seems awesome. Gerry was talking about this a little yesterday. AJ was talking about it a little yesterday. Against the beatdown decks, you can buy a little bit of time. Against the control decks, you can bounce a Jace or Gideon, or a sword that's incoming. This gives you a nice little bit of versatility, which is kind of what you're looking for with that deck in a lot of matchups. You have so many strong plays, sometimes you just need a little bit of utility to deal with your opponent's cards. So Ryan draws, and now he can at least declare his combat step, where a Temple Magnet will likely tap down that Acidic Slime. Gerry's thinking, do I tap it, do I not? Do I tap it, do I not? Yeah, he just opts to tap it.
Yeah, why mess around with it?
Looks like there's still a small 2 to 3 minute delay today, so we will refrain from tweeting the winners of the matches. But way better than the 9 to 10 minute delay we had yesterday with the internet connection here. For those just joining us, the internet here not so good, and so it's a little dark. The lighting in the room is a little dark, and also the internet's been taking a while to process. So, and the quality's not the greatest, but hopefully you guys can still make out what's going on. On Gerry's side, he has 2 Tumble Magnets and a Stoneforge Mystic with a Sword of Feast and Famine. On Ryan's side, he's got 2 Sword of Feast and Famines and a Acidic Slime with one of them equipped to it, and a bunch of lands, including a Raging Ravine, which is currently pushed up into the combat zone.
There's a Sun Titan.
Wow, it's a sweet card for Ryan O'Connor, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. You can get back Fauna Shaman. Now, Gerry doesn't have a actual removal answer. Okay, so he gets back Squadron Hawk, which is going to be awesome for Ryan.
Yeah, bring him right back in.
To find some blockers. And out of nowhere, that Sun Titan was just the card he needed. With all those one-ups, once again, you can just draw any of them at any given time. And so...
now he can just tap them both down with the Tumble.
So he doesn't have any actual removal spells, but yeah, those Tumble Magnets will be...
Well, the one's out of counters now. Well, he did it end of turn, so of course.
Pretty effective. So yeah, Tumble Magnets down Ryan's other creature, and looks like he's going to get in for 6 here. All right, Gerry, Inquisition's away 1 Hawk. Ryan, let's see. Switches in for 6. Yep, so it's going to drop Ryan to 4. Oh, and Ryan just concedes. He's like, all right, there's nothing I can do here. And that was a quick 2 games from Gerry Thompson. 2-0'd Ryan O'Connor's Naya Vengevine deck. Still a great showing by Ryan this weekend, no doubt. Put Naya Vengevine totally back on the radar after it essentially just disappeared from the metagame.